Tales of Estolia. Volume 1. The Promise of Zacharias. Part 5. According to Prophecy. Chapter 4. Reinstatement. Belonging, that sense of being a part of something, whether it is family or work-related, is impossible to teach or explain. One only understands it when they acquire it. Before I discovered Estolia, I was aware of it, as one is aware of places they have never been, and things they have never done, but I wasn't sure I believed it was real. After meeting Neil, I looked back on my prior life, as one might a desert from the lush security of an oasis. It made me think of the popular saying, after the feast, a famine, but, in my case, it was really the opposite. After the famine, a feast. Libby Comstock, in Screto. How may I help you, Callista? Dr. Stokes, the Dean of Students, greeted her cordially. Once they were seated, she pushed the heavy folder towards him. I'm here about my scholarship. I am petitioning for it to be reinstated on compassionate grounds, as my absence from school was literally beyond my control. While he looked over the paperwork, she tried not to move around too much. She ran her fingers over the carved handle of the cane she bought at a thrift store. It resembled the head of a dragon. With a frown, he turned to his computer to scroll through a large volume of information, idly tapping the desktop with a pen in his left hand. When he finished, he sat back and looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time. Her thick bronze hair was in a braid, and she was dressed in a yellow sundress. The walking cast on her foot and the cane completed her unremarkable appearance. First things first, Callista, may I share my deepest condolences on your loss? Our sister university lost one of their best upcoming professors when your brother saved your life, and I am not sure whether you are aware, but two of our own professors were in the crowd. One was killed and the other severely injured so that she will be unable to return to work. All around it was one of the most tragic holiday accidents we've seen in years. Tears clogged her throat, struggling to escape her control. She closed her eyes and counted to 10. She promised herself she would cry later. But, for now, she had to sort out the scholarship. It was the only guideline she had through the wilderness of the modern world. She didn't know what she would do without it. He continued, your grades from the first semester were nearly all acceptable. You did get one low grade in chemistry, but overall you haven't hit the threshold beyond which you would normally lose your scholarship. Taking an unscheduled sabbatical did result in the scholarship being rescinded, but I believe that we can intervene on your behalf and get you reinstated provisionally on compassionate grounds, as you say. Provisionally? She felt a tremor of fear. He looked down at the folder on his desk, idly straightening the papers and then closing it before meeting her eyes again. Unfortunately, this particular scholarship was set up in antiquity, over 100 years ago. The guidelines under which any sort of compassionate waiver is granted are strictly delineated. He smiled and glanced at the computer screen. I'm on the board of directors for the institution who maintains the scholarship fund. Why did you do so poorly in chemistry? Gladys Cornwell and Connor McAllister. The other members of her study team. I had a difficult group to work with, and the professor would not allow me to switch to another group. The others didn't do their part. Professor Unger said that top marks were for those who learned how to work well as a team. My teammates. He held up a hand. I understand completely. He used his mouse to select something on the screen, and then said, the only provision of reinstatement is that you must maintain a grade point average of 3.75. I'm afraid that if your grades suffer upon your return, your scholarship will be terminated permanently. But all of the notes about your progress indicate that you are a brilliant young woman with great potential. If you have any additional difficulties with your grades, please make sure you see me right away so that we can work on them.